for allowing us to host this event and showcase the greatest things going on in Lancaster City Schools, starting with our chamber singers, our culinary arts students, and our criminal science students. And also the opportunity to share with you the great things that are going on in our school district. Certainly with last month's shooting in Florida, school safety is on everyone's mind. And I want to give you an overview of what we're doing in our schools to keep our students safe and secure. Several years ago, all Lancaster schools were modified to include secure entrances, and secure entrances were included in our elementary schools. Our staff and students are trained to respond to an active shooter. And each building has staff members assigned to responsibilities for emergency situations following the National Incident Management System. And these staff members conduct tabletop drills to discuss how to handle and prevent different scenarios. We employ the services of a full-time deputy sheriff and contract with the Lancaster Police Department for coverage in our elementary and junior high schools. We meet periodically with our law enforcement agencies to make sure we're following best practices in responding to emergencies. And let me tell you, we are very, very fortunate in Lancaster that we have two outstanding law enforcement agencies, our Sheriff's Department and the Lancaster Police Department. Secure buildings and strong plans with the accompanying training are certainly important, but we recognize that many events are triggered by behavioral issues. And to that end, we work to provide our students with a caring culture in which the students have positive relationships with adults and peers. We employ a multi-tiered system of supports for our students in which all buildings have school-wide positive behavior support systems. In addition, all of our elementary students receive second step training. This is an evidence-based social and emotional learning program which includes bullying prevention. And our secondary schools have begun training in the R factor, which is based on the principle that outcomes are determined by a person's response to an event. For students who need more support, we have school-based teams which identify interventions and services to help meet the mental health needs of our students. And this often includes counseling in school with our social workers, our school counselors, and community-based counselors from New Horizons, Mid-Ohio, or Guidestones. And we work with these counseling agencies to come into our schools to provide services to our students who have identified needs. And we're also working with juvenile court, Children's Protective Services, and the ADAM Board on an early warning system to strengthen our partnership to provide mental health services for those students who are in need and also to their families. Now, moving on, one of the most exciting things in our district is our junior high construction project, which will be completed in the summer of 2020. And here is our site plan for Thomas Ewing. The building, there's the front of the building, and it faces the corner of Sheridan Drive and Pleasant Springs Boulevard. The parent drop-off is off of Sheridan Drive, and you'll see that there's plenty of stacking space for cars, and the students coming in here will enter in the rear of the building. The bus entrance is here off of Pleasant Springs Boulevard, and those students will enter into the front of the building. And if you drive out Sheridan Drive, you can see the footprint of this building as it's already laid out. And then we'll have our athletic fields in the back towards the creek. Our General Sherman site plan, which is located on Election House Road, which runs along here, and it's right behind Bob Boyd Ford. The building is orientated toward the northwest, and coming up Election House Road, the first entrance is for the buses, and that's right across from Cole Road, and those students will enter in the rear of the building. The parent drop-off is up Election House Road and around the corner on Election House at the top of the property. And again, you can see there's plenty of room for cars to stack, and then they'll be dropping those students off and they'll enter in the front of the building. We have our athletic fields in the upper right area, And we also have a turnaround to Fernwood Drive so that we have connections to River Valley Highland. I'll show you the floor plan section by section, give you a quick overview of what we have in the building here. And I'll start with our section, the 7th and 8th grade section. This is a 2-story section. And we will have social studies and English classes on the first floor, science labs and math classes on the second floor. And the layout looks like this with our classrooms. And then we have an extended learning area, which will be outfitted with technology and seating for small group instruction. We also have our teacher prep area, and we have a multi-purpose laboratory for our students. And both the first floor and the second floor are laid out just like this. Moving into the middle front section that houses the office, media center, and art section, it lays out like this. Here's your main entrance. Into the corridor, we have a secure entryway that leads into our office area here. To the left is our media center, and we have small group rooms and production labs off to the left here. Moving back this way, we have the hallway which leads to the 6th grade wing here, and behind that is our 2 art rooms. Going back the main corridor and then to the right, this leads into our 6th grade section, which I'll show you in a minute. And also in this area is our multi-purpose lab for the 6th grade building section. And this is where the 6th grade building section is on the footprint of the building. And this is what it looks like. Again, very similar to the 7th and 8th grade section with the extended learning area and the teacher prep area. And remember, the multi-purpose lab is over here. Moving to the rear of the building, we have our gymnasium and mechanical section, and it lays out like this. This would be your main corridor coming down here. Entering into the gym, seating is on this side, locker rooms on this side. Back here is the rear entrance to the building for students, and then it will also serve as an entryway for athletic events and for music performances, which will be held over here in this section of the building, which I'll get to in just a moment. And in the back we have our mechanical room. And the final section is our music and student dining section, and it lays out like this, and we have spent a great deal of time and added some extra dollars into this area so that it can be utilized for student dining during the day and a good performing venue after school for our music performances. So we come into the student dining area, cafeteria here, and then this is our music area with a general music room, choir room, and a large band room, which also serves as the stage. Now on the stage, there will be a movable wall, just like we have in our elementaries. And then for performances, we open up the wall and we have a large stage, large performing stage, large enough for our band, and that stage can be partitioned off so it's smaller for our choirs. Now to turn this area into an auditorium, we've gone to this. This is retractable auditorium seating, which comes out just like your bleachers come out, and then you have auditorium seating. And to make sure that we have the sound proper, we will have acoustical applications on the ceilings and in the walls so that we have a good performing venue for our students. So, Mr. Petchar, you wanted to know about a new high school, right? Yeah, thank you. Thanks for asking. Since you brought that up, I appreciate that. We'll get to that in a minute. I forgot about these slides. Let me show you the outside of the building first. But I appreciate your enthusiasm. If you look at the Thomas Ewing building, this is your view coming up Sheridan Drive. This is the view from the front, the main entrance, and then this is the view from Pleasant Springs Boulevard. And again, the General Sherman building will look just like this as well. Now, to get to Mr. Petchar's question, new high school, okay? It's the final segment of the master plan with the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission, and that plan was approved by the OFCC back in 2008. And it was approved under what's called the Exceptional Needs Program. And according to state regulations, the exceptional need that we had back in 2008 is that we were overcrowded. Now, since 2008, our district has grown by just a little over 400 students, and there are 120 more students out at Lancaster High School. So we were overcrowded in 2008, we're more overcrowded now. The first segment of the plan was the construction of the 5 new elementary schools, and we passed a $61.5 million bond levy back in 2012 to do that. And we are very proud to say that our 2 new junior highs that are currently under construction, we're able to do that without raising any tax dollars, and that's because you supported the renewal of the earned income tax back in 2015. Now, the final segment is to build a new high school, and for that, we will need to pass a bond levy. So, we've already begun preparations for that, for a new high school. We have met with the OFCC to begin that planning process, or actually the pre-planning process, and update our enrollment projections. Now, back to that overcrowded thing. The OFCC co-funds square footage for a building based on enrollment. And based on the district enrollment projections that were done back in 2012 for the junior highs, the square footage for a new Lancaster High School is twice the size of the current building. So this is why we chose to move Thomas Ewing out of here and to a new location. And it's also why we're looking for a new location for our transportation hub, because we want to clear this area out, because a larger high school that's going to sit here, this is the current high school, is going to chew up at least some of these fields. And we need to relocate those fields down here when we're done with the entire project. So there's certainly a lot of questions and a lot of things that we have to work out yet. But over the next several months, we'll be working with our architect, Tony Shore, in the pre-planning process to determine the amount that we will need to raise for a bond levy and doing some pre-planning. And one of the key considerations in the planning process is certainly the career technical programs, which will all be housed here at Lancaster High School. And that's where our partnership with Mr. Zabreck and the Fairfield 33 Alliance is so important, because it's a great opportunity to build a facility to support career technical programs that are needed here in Fairfield County, and also to partner with any industries who'd like to invest developing students for their workforce. Now, we plan to put the bond levy out next spring, and I can tell you that the bond levy will likely be as large as what the elementary bond levy was. So next spring, you can anticipate a bond levy coming forth for a new Lancaster High School, and we'll be recruiting folks for our bond levy committee. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Now, we have far too many exciting things that are going on in the district to share with you at this State of the Schools address. So I'd like to end with a video which lists just some of our highlights. All right, on behalf of the Lancaster Fairfield Chamber of Commerce and Lancaster City Schools, I'd like to thank you all for attending this year's State of the Schools address. Thank you very much.